Good day, folks. Let's discuss updates around this Canadian small cap stock that has been trading up 40% year to date called Aduro Clean Technologies, a company with hydrochemolytic upcycling with the potential to take waste plastic, turn it into profitable fuels and renewable resources. On top of that, other verticals, including taking heavier bitumen oils, turning them into lighter fuels. The potential is what we're going to break down in this video and talk about future potential profitability. Now, do keep in mind, this is a company that I currently hold shares in. It is a company that sponsors this channel that we've been working with now for over 3 years. I'm leaving all that in the disclaimer down below. This does not constitute financial advice, but rather opinions of my own as we sit on this curious edge of real potential in a company that has 10 plus test clients right now that all have market caps bigger than $40 billion. We do have a pilot plant that is just around the corner, and I want to kind of get a feel out for what the potential this company has to offer the world. So if you are on a path to financial independence, if you damn well one day want to retire early, join me by hitting that subscribe button, folks, because first and foremost, I want to applaud the consultant, the investor, whoever went out and built this profitability projection based off knowledge from interviews with CEOs, the chief operation officer, all those people, and you know, all the news releases to really refine and dine what I think the vision is for Aduro. And I'm going to leave the link to this in the description below. And I want to focus on just one aspect of this, that if we scroll down toward the profitability of the commercial unit itself, with per unit expectations of an annual production of about 25,000 tons. So keep in mind, this is based on the previous numbers for the profit for a commercial unit per ton, with estimated at an annual production of 25,000 tons. On the low end scenario, if feedstock costs $75 per ton with a product value of $480 per ton, we could project roughly $12 million per year. In the high end scenario, with feedstock at $150 per ton with a product value of $975 per ton, we're looking at about $24,375,000 per year. So it's really neat to take these figures and just kind of project them out in stock value. And the valuation behind this is really intriguing because they're based on what I want to call fairly modest, like the low end scenario, profit margins based off stock multiples going up only to 12 times, with a high profit scenario going up to 12 times, but we're talking about 25 units for 75 units. I do want to tell you on the extreme end of this, and what makes this so intriguing to me is that with 75 units, the projected annual tonnage I think is around like 1.8 to 2 million, whereas the global production of plastics is estimated to be around 380 to 400 million tons. So we're capturing a very, very small percentage of the true capability of this market. Not that Aduro is going to own the whole sector, but I imagine there'll be a handful of people that are capitalizing on this to a conglomerate level scale. Again, Aduro's got 10 mega cap companies trading for $40+ billion testing this technology right now, and everything from food recycling to tire companies. It's really quite incredible, but on the assumption that the company on the very lowest end is trading at a 2 times multiple with 25 units, based off the low profit scenario of $12,000 per unit, we're talking about $20.75 as the average stock price, meaning that the potential is still to potentially see just over a doubling in the coming, what I'm going to say, anywhere from 3 to 8 years, give or take. I think we're going to start seeing the growth trajectory really start to formulate in the next 1 year. But again, on the higher end, if we get those 75 units at a 12 times multiple, at $758 per share. So, no growth company to this level would trade at 12. I suspect you get up to a 20 or 30 or plus, but it's really nice taking very conservative metrics here across every scenario possible, because I do think this is quite modest. But again, we're still in the early phases, and this is still going to be a very costly business in the next year or two. And we need to discuss where the company sits to get them to these levels, right? So firstly, let's talk about some of the news, because there has been a couple things going on, and prevalently for most investors, we have been through a period of dilution. The company has seen quite a historic run up on the stock price, and it's a good time for the company to raise capital while the stock is maintaining really good investor attention. And that's what they did within reason, taking on basically this $8 million of this underwritten public offering. Now, this does give them quite a runway to basically get through this year, in the next year for sure, when they're building out their pilot plant. And I think the pilot plant, once that thing starts getting into the operational phase, will be one of the hugest bull potentials for them if we compare it to other companies in the space like PureCycle that have their pilot plant that they're currently operating. So I don't don't think it's unreasonable to see Aduro in the next year or two trading at about $1 billion or a 3x value just on expectations of the plant starting to move into operation. And if we can just get a client to convert in the next year, I think we are severely off to the races with the potential that this company is going to have. Again, this has been a long time coming, and I think we're at this pivotal hurdle, this inflection point where it's going to get real interesting really quick. And you're going to look at one of two kind of investors, people like me that want to take on a bit more risk in the early run here to try and capitalize on that initial run up, and then the investors that are going to come in later once they see some solidification, some removal of the risk as clients start to actually take on this technology in a licensing model, as their pilot plant starts to scale up, and it gives them further opportunity to kind of control their own destiny. So I'm very excited to see what happens, and it's a company that we're going to continue to follow on this channel, in the coming months. So consider subscribing, because I'm going to keep my eye on it regardless. But I'd love to know what you think in that comment section below, and again, consider subscribing for updates.